Hello, hello, hello. This is your Captain Panic speaking, and welcome on board of 2022. And on board of another Touchdesigner tutorial as well. But first of all, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. It doesn't matter what your goals are, you are always good enough. So that's all I want to say about that. And also I want to say thank you for the support I'm getting, and especially for the comments on my latest tutorial, because I had a little heartbreak situation at that time, and reading your comments actually made me feel better, and I might shed some tears, so thank you for that. And also many of you asked me if I'm okay, and I am actually doing pretty good at the moment, so it's all a little bit brighter. And yeah, I moved to Berlin, and which is also the reason that recording this tutorial might be a little bit laggy in terms of my frame rate, because I haven't brought my my PC yet, and I'm recording this on my laptop, which is not as powerful as my PC. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky to record with it, but I still wanted to record, and so please excuse frame drops or anything. I'm trying to do my best. And yeah, in the background you can already see what we are going to do today. So we are creating this drippy drop structure, which I really enjoy, and we also make some high detailed normal maps. So yeah, things said about the frame rate. So yeah, it's actually a kind of simple setup, but it's extremely powerful, and in the end we will take care of getting some cool normals to maintain some details and get a 3D-ish look. I want to say that many of these ideas I got in these tutorials are inspired by the legend Pakata 12. So I'm not using any of his stuff in here. I want to mention that I just made my own setups regarding normals and stuff with my own way of thinking, but still many of these things are inspired by him. So check out his tutorials. He's amazing and awesome and teach me a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna pause this and we will start from scratch. So see you on my screen. So welcome on my screen. So one moment, I'm opening up my file on my other screen. So let's get started from scratch. So the first thing we want to do is set up a constant chop to set our resolution. And you might know that I'm usually using a default startup file I already prepared, which is available on my Patreon, which makes it a little bit easier to set up resolution and everything. So head over there and sign up for my Patreon. Okay, so we have our resolution here, and now we start with a noise. Select the noise top. And then the first thing we are going to do is set the pixel format to 32-bit float, RGBA, and then we will make this constant view active and use our resolution on the resolution of the noise just drag it onto here, let go, and chop the reference. So this is it. And then I'm going to set the period to 3. I don't want any harmonics for now. And then one thing I also did is I want this noise to be a little bit bigger, so I scaled it up by scaling the number down. So 0.8 makes it actually bigger. And then I want to animate it on the z-axis of the noise. So I'm just typing in abs time dot seconds. And I will multiply it with 0.1 maybe. So it's just really nice and smooth. So I don't want any fast movement happening here. And then I will just copy that noise and paste it and change the seed. Maybe we also change the seed on the first noise. So just make sure the noises are different, the seeds from each other. And then we will use a reorder because we want to create some kind of not normal UV map out of this. Not an actual real UV map, but a map using only R and G values. So I'm just plugging this into the first input and the second noise into the second input. And in the reorder, we will set the output of the blue to 0, so we only get R and G values. And then the output of the green will be input 2. So now we only have red and green values, just like a UV map. And we could also have had this if we just, one moment, I will just copy that noise and show what I mean. And if we change the pixel format to 32-bit RG and then set it to non-monochrome, we could also have a UV map noise. So you could also do that, but I found out that when I combine two noises together, it gives me more diversity or more variance, I don't know if this was an English word, to the outcome in the end. So I could just have those big movements from my first noise, and if I bring in harmonics, I can have some more details, which doesn't make sense now, but I will show it later. So just to keep that in mind, that it's not actually useless what we are doing. Because I did that before in another tutorial and someone asked me why I'm using the reorder and not just changing the pixel format. But we will see. After that I bring in a null because we had in a feedback loop, and I always like to do a null before, so in case I want to insert something or anything. So, okay. Now let's bring in a level and set the opacity under post to 0.01. And then after that bring in a composite and change the operation mode to over. And then out of that null we will also create a feedback and plug it into the comp here. But this time we won't make this one the target layer. We will just insert a transform after that. And in that transform on the y-axis, we will set it to minus 0.001. So it just will create the drops you saw in the beginning to just come down, so it kind of melts down. And after that we will create a displace, And we will keep everything in this displace on default, except that we will take the displace weight on the x-axis to 1 and on the y-axis to -1. And then we will just create a select and set it up here and bring in that feedback into that select. So it just keeps our network a little bit cleaner. And after that select, I am bringing in the slope and I set it to 2, 1, 1. And after that, let's make a blur and set the blur to something really high. So I set it to 32 on the filter size. The pre-shrink keeps on default. And then we plug this one into the second input, and then we make this displace the target layer of the feedback. And then let's connect this to a null and make this on display so we can see what's going on. And now you can already see that we are getting some kind of drops happening here. So now let's take care of the look of everything. So you remember we had this kind of cool 3D-ish look in the beginning. And I created this component, which is called PPPANIK, which we will recreate now. So this one will get some nice and smooth normals and details out of this texture we inserted here. So let's create this container from scratch. And if you signed up to my Patreon, you already can get this container, and I will keep it in here. So if you sign up, you can download the project file. And enough self-promotion here. So let's create the normal top. One moment. Okay. So the first thing we will set up is a level. And in that level, we just set the pixel format to 32-bit float RGB. So make sure there's no alpha channel included. And after that level, we will insert another level and set the contrast to 1090/22. So basically our resolution. And after that, we will insert a normal map. And in that normal map, we keep everything on default except that we are masking the channel blue. So we only get R and G values. After that, we will create a limit, which we will use to normalize our values. So in that limit, keep everything on default except we will turn on the normalize. And also I realized I'm sorry. We don't keep everything on default in that limit. We will mask the channels R and G. So we get this normalized map now. And after that, we will insert a math, because right now we only have positive values here. I'm not an expert here, but I just found out if I change the ranges here from null to -1, -1, and -1. We actually include all our values. So yeah, and after that I created another limit. So because we want those edges, which are a little bit pixelated and rough right now, to be really smooth, so I brought in another limit, and I set the limit type maximum to clamp, which might not make a difference in this map, but you can see it in the end, because right now we will bring in a noise after that. So use both inputs and set the output to noise here. So we just have the noise, and then set the pixel format here to 32-bit float, and might bring down the harmonics, and also bring this one up here. And now you might see what I mean. So right now, without the limit, everything is kind of rough here. And if I bring it in, it smoothes out a little bit, and it's more of a liquid feeling we are getting here. So yeah, you could also play around a little bit with the ranges here. So for example, if we bring this range up to 0.5, it smoothes out even more, or it gives us more shadows in here. So you could also play around with these values, but I like to keep them on default. But you can play around in that math to get more different shades. And to add my final touch, I'm just copying that noise, making it non-monochrome, changing the seed, and bringing in a composite, and combine those two to get my colorful and kind of acid look. So play with the harmonics to get more different color shades or anything. Just feel free to play around with this. And now I'm actually I will show what I meant, what I said in the beginning, why I am using this reorder instead of just one noise. So for example, right now I have those big and nice drops, but if I change the harmonics in my first noise, I'm getting this really rough and really kind of ugly detailed texture, but still I'm remaining those shape of the drops, and that's because I'm using two noises, so it controls different aspects of the animation, which gives me more variance and makes this one even more fun to play with. So for example, let's bring in harmonics on the second noise, and now we are changing the shape of our drops without changing too much. So for example, if I bring down the period here, we are getting more color harmonics. If I bring down the period here, we get a totally different shape of drop while still remaining our amount of color details. So yeah, this is the reason why I am using two noises, because I like to play with my animations and get different stuff from it. And yeah, so that's basically it with this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're doing good. I hope you had a good start into 2022, and I hope you can make the best out of the year, and yeah, enjoy your time and enjoy yourselves and have a good time. Stay creative, stay kind, and hopefully hear you next time. Bye bye.